All right, my beloved esoteric sunions and beloved neophytes of all kinds, and individuals on the great work. That's right. Looking to push that stone up the hill to socially, psychically, metaphysically, and spiritually uplift. Right? And we do that in many ways. Some of that is through the expanding mind processes of the imaginative process. Imagination. Writing imaginative things. Some of those imaginative things were inspired by bouts of insanity I may have had, and or witchcraft power-ups that rocked out and splintered out into realities that I got to consume, right? One of those, esoteric mythos, late at night. Can't sleep? Let's make a story for you. There was a time, a few months back, I was splitting from dogma, and I was sure that the power's name was Yahweh, and his son was named Yahushai. And those woolly-haired Negroes flowed forth from the stratospheric or the cosmological era, the up there, aka the ether realm, right? And their reality came down here, according to the Biblicus, Ex Mortis, according to the Goldarn, Harry Nigricus on the Streeticus, right? Telling you all about the Haticus, right? Hateful Woolly Negroes told me about the creator and his son is the shape of a man, woolly hair, dark skins, right? Hate every vitamins, right? Don't eat your vitamins. If it's you eat them out, you fight them in, right? All that bullshit. Bottom line, here's some more esoteric mythos. People get spirited up, take lives, get spirits added to them. You ain't supposed to have ghosts on you because those get attached to you from taking spirits from people. The souls of men and women and children get attached to people if they take them for power and ritual. One esoteric myth, though. Must be done in a certain way. Can't just do it, right? There is a key in there. Not giving that to you. That's on you. The lore. The second thing. Those people that catch spirits get powerful. Very powerful. You get up to 8, you can get a culled easily by a certain process. Special character. Witch hunters exist, but how they exist is a little bit different. All right, the mechanics are like this. An individual is able to perceive individuals who have taken spirits. And there are many ways to do them. One of them is taking their lives and adding them to yourselves a certain way, right? One of them harkens back to the method of Thoth magicians in Egyptian times. It was a time-honored practice that was really just supposed to be corralled for a certain group of people to uplift a society so that they could build and do all the things that made a society function without goddamn computers and lots of writing and stuff. They took the spirits of 8 people that were in the Thoth tradition of keeping all that information. So they're getting people that had all that information in their spirit in that only that little cult. They're not letting the world do the thing like they're letting the entertainment industry do it. Very tight-knit. More esoteric mythos, right? Those people would get up to 8 spirits to be truly Thoth. To be Thoth, you need 8 spirits. And you don't just need 8 spirits. You need, at that time, in the Egyptian time, you needed 8 of those highly successful ones, right? They were 8 with 8. So you were taking 8 masters to be Thoth. Do the math. It's 8 squared or whatever, right? To be Thoth. You ain't gonna be Thoth. People around here get 8. But they're not getting 8 people that have 8 spirits, right? More mythos. What they're doing is the same method, adding spirits to themselves. It's an ancient trick. Where you can add, you kill somebody, a spirit gets added to you. but it doesn't do good things for you. The ritual, the special thing, makes it do good things for you, right? And these are terrible witchcraft. This is terrible witchcraft, guys. They get away with taking people's lives and adding them to themselves. They were doing it with the Planned Parenthood. They were doing a bunch of weird stuff. Spirit theft happens a bunch of ways, right? You can add them to yourself. Benefically and unbenefically. Supposed to be not getting benefits from taking lives. Not getting benefits from liquidating people, right? But it gets done, and people are, right? It exists. That's one of the methods that exists. It existed then. It exists now in a capacity. It gives people access to more mind power than they normally would have access to, right? Because the allotments are different now. Back then, people's minds were more categorized around numbers and stuff, quantifications and things of expansive thought, imaginatives, figuratives. They were to quantify and perceive more because they had more capacity. We today require, because we've been dulled down, because of godly advantage, because of these games before, guys, we're suffering from us redeveloping iteratively, from getting these games done on us, pulled back, done on us. In an age, it's like there's an amount gets let out, an aspect, and pulled out, not allowed to come up and well up and pulled back. In an age, if it's choreographed correctly, you get kind of a parabolic, where the age has got a precipice and it comes back down, right? We can see the age of Aries. What's his name died on the cross at the end of the age of Aries. It was the end of the age. If you look at it, the end of the age of the Aries was then. The beginning of the age of Pisces when all the stupid biblical crap happened. Made sense. All their minds were going toward the end of the age, right? Apocalyptic Judaism kicked off, right? I know this is long-winded, right? But the hysteria we have now, it's really astrological, guys. We can follow the astro signs, things that happen, the ages, the dates, the planets, the precessions, and kind of see major events were associated with those. Well, guess what? That's exactly how things move here. In fact, that's how governments work. They're planetary. They have associations with planetary, the time, how time works, how the zodiac works, right? Because we're a fraction of that. How there are gods, right? We're an aspect of the main gods. The main gods here are the planets, including the sun. Sun makes everything work. Sun and moon make everything work, right? Get a lot of stuff for the sun and the moon. Here on the earth, the aspects of the planets, which make all the brain power, the highly intelligent, highly functional stuff go, right? We're talking about this because those Thoth magicians figured this out a long time ago, that they could add extra spirits to them. And every one of those extra spirits gets the aspects coming down from whatever astro sign they were into that little toroid, their spirit, that little spirit toroid. And they get to dwell with those have the aspects dwell around that, and it feeds it into the individual, the center toroid human, right? So those little toroids that have been spirited up feed all the aspects from the astral realm, right? Coming in through that net thing that's around the earth that only lets a certain amount of aspect at a certain time, right? It's like a breathing filter. They want to call it the ionosphere. That's one way to look at it. It's another thing. It's like a waveform envelope that's getting projected here that opens up like a bunch of tiles and lets X amount of aspects of the gods, right, the planets, through the light process, because the light is the vehicle for those things, right? That process can get interrupted by a bunch of different stuff. The chief interrupter that they're all worried about is a character that doesn't come often, right? Not the Salem witch hunter, because let's be honest, the Salem witch trial, they were witches burning regular people. The witches were the slanderers, burning people at the expense of other people, on behest of other people, for stuff that they couldn't physically prove. That's a witchcraft. They were not burning witches, they were witches slandering people to be burnt, and they got spirited up in the process. And none of them got held accountable, right? But they never had any physical evidence. It's witchcraft. Spirit theft. Ancient spirit theft, right? A game. Because there are psycho, spiritual, physical things going on. But it's not exactly how the scriptures speak it out, right? They have, like the Sephiroth tree is a good example of it, right? There's places where there's authority above others. You get spiritual power, mentally, the mental ability, the intuition, that stuff comes from the planets, comes from the moon, specifically intuition, the moon, predominantly, right? But it all comes down through the sun, right? Because the moon don't work without the sun. You can't see nothing without the sun. Sun is the number one thing. That's why America, the sun and Saturn, right? Because they run the Bible and the sun, since the Bible is originally Judeo, right? It's originally Saturnian. That's why the Jews use the hexagram, right? It's not the Star of David, it's a hexagram. The cross is the sun cross, right? Both of them together, the modern Judeo theocracy, right? The American theocracy is Saturn and the sun. When you start looking at these other things, you start recognizing the symbols, it's planetary. So that spirito-demonic accoutrement comes in from the aspects of the planets and your zodiac. And there's other things like fixed stars that play into the process too. But let's focus on the things that we're talking about, right? The witch hunter. Spirito-demonic ghost-busting folklore, right? So the witch hunter works like this. It's an individual. And they can capacitate and sense witches and warlocks without seeing them with their eyes. They literally put their hand over their, and this is how they find them in the daylight even. Because you're just going to see a person with their hands over their eyes. And they can look around. For females, they show up red. Female witches. Warlocks, they show up blue. You only can tell if they're witch or warlock if they're either in a coven or taking a spirit. That's just how it is. The spirits that hang off of people, when a hunter gets close to them, a thing opens on their head. It's like turning a little thing, like a little Mexican. You spin it a little and you like squeeze it, and but it opens like a little 8-pointed flower, like a dot with 8 radials around it, right? Typically they're red. It opens above their head and it starts torquing, kind of like when you get sigiled. If you get sigiled, it'll torque to the left a little bit, and it'll kind of get fuzzy, make you feel nauseous. You'll have a psychosocial, physical experience with it, right? And it'll be a mandala above their head. Typically, however many spirits they've taken will be little areas that look like a magnifying glass that came over it. Like it has a smearing. Almost like, I don't know if you've ever taken psilocybin mushrooms. I did it when I was much younger. It almost looks like there's little areas where a magnifying glass has shown up and it's warped the area in little spots, right? But it'll be like a perfectly radiated mandala around their head. If they've got 3 spirits, you're going to see boom, 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 like a fan. And it's going to radiate. Sometimes those smear spots will have little radiates that go to a middle. Could be a gold middle prick with 3 radials. Could be a red middle prick. Typically a red middle prick is malefics. Those are spirit theft, right? Won't light up the same way if they're not spirit thieves, right? And it's going to be associated with a psychosomatic feeling. Like you see something, you see a torquing in reality, almost like a smearing, and a nauseous feeling, and a nauseating, almost like a guttural. It's almost like when you get sigiled, you get a guttural feeling, right? You get a nauseated, a feeling that makes you want to go, oh my God, I gotta get away from this thing. And it's giving access to those energies to you at those times. So those are not good things when you feel those things. This hunter gets these feelings, right, when he sees these people. And they light up with a mandala above their head. And this person, if that person's ready for them to take that thing, their hand will light up with a tiny little 4-pointed star. And when they throw it, they don't it's not a physical thing. It almost looks like a tiny little pinprick thing, and it lands on them, right? It's not physical. It doesn't knock them over or nothing. It's like it lands on me like sometimes when you see a car in the distance in a street light, and the light glints off of it, and you see a little tiny 4-pointed star, but it's not taking up the vision. It's not lighting up the world. It's not super distracting. It lands on it, the person. You reel it in, and it grabs it, turns it over, and pushes it to the side, and you see a flash, like a light has gone from that person, and it goes across the ground to the witch hunter that pulled it. And it pulls all of the spirits that person's not supposed to have on, because it's not supposed to have spirits, and that person's spirit up that flop down on the ground. Spirito demonic witch clearing folklore. That's how it was done. It was not done by burning at the stake. There's some conjecture, according to the spirit that I talked to, what's his name? Fucking John de Molay, what's his name? The Templar guy. They burnt at the stake. He says they had to clear him out by warfare. And I'm sure at that time, depending on the witchcraft, it probably had something to do with that. But believe it or not, per age, the thing they were doing kind of changed. They could tell if there was a witchcraft all the way back then, because they could tell trade would get fucked up and people would start acting weird. They noticed it by economic stuff, because we're talking about people that cleared it out. There were kings and stuff that got given these roles. They would find them, and listen, they would be able to find them. Not just be able to look around in an area, because that's like if it's a crowded area, you put your hand over your eyes and you can pick out the right one. You get a spirit lock, so you get that nauseous feeling. And as you get close to them, you feel that nauseous feeling. No equipment, right? And the craziest part is in that intuition dump, I saw there was like a red dot I was following around on my hand. I swear I got teleported to an ancient time where I was clearing people out of the kingdom that were fucking doing fucked up shit. And I saw this little red dot on my hand, like a little blood pinprick, like bright red blood, and it had like a tiny dot, like a little target kind of thing, and it would go boing, boing. As I would get closer, it would have like a pulsing, right? It was so weird. It was like a display on my hand, like I'd watch it go around, like I would get closer to the red dot, get closer to me or not, based on where it was on my hand, Further to the fingertip, further away. Getting closer to the palm, closer to me. It was a wild intuition. This is Spirito demonic folklore, right? Mythos. Because these things exist. Witches exist. Spirit theft exists. Uplifting of people through aspects. Because not everybody has these planets in their fucking main sign. So they don't get the machismo, the mind energy is what I'm getting told, that certain people, they have to appeal for it a different way, and to keep the concepts going or getting access to new opportunity, the Jupitering thing, where you just get all of a sudden an opportunity, things are just dropping everywhere, and you're not really going to get things. You're not doing the steps that are necessary to show up, to do the thing, to get the thing. It just shows up. That thing, right? We're going to an age where that's going away. The age of Pisces is kind of gone, right? We can already see it. The abundance is gone. We've gone toward dystopian realities and dystopian dispositions, right? So, with that being said, we believe some of that stuff's going to get cleared out. We believe societal fluidity is being locked up by witchcraft. Certain types of witchcraft that the time is over for. The benefit has left, and all that's getting done is harm. And we believe that people are getting waking up to respond to some of it, right? And they're in the astrological realm here. Thinking about the aspects, the astro signs, the zodion, the earth, the sun, the moon. Those are the things that are our powers, guys. That's where it all comes from. Put some thoughts, blood. Astro doubt.